Welcome to another episode of the Box Office Babbler. I'm Babbling Ben. Today we're going to do context in content. I'll be discussing the movie Trading Places and how the ending worked. Before I get started, a little legal disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. The purpose of this video is to provide a little context to a good film. If you want to know if soft commodities are a good investment for you, contact a competent certified financial advisor. Here's a ChatGPT summary of the plot. The story follows Louis Winthrop III, played by Dan Ackroyd, a wealthy and snobbish commodities broker, and Billy Ray Valentine, played by Eddie Murphy, a street-smart con artist. Their lives become the subject of a twisted social experiment when the wealthy Duke brothers, Randolph, played by Ralph Bellamy, and Mortimer, played by Don Amici, make a bet about the roles of environment and upbringing in determining success. The Dukes orchestrate a plan to ruin Winthrop's life, framing him for theft and drug possession, while giving Valentine a luxurious lifestyle and Winthrop's high-powered job. As their worlds are turned upside down, Winthrop and Valentine eventually cross paths, discover the scheme, and team up to seek revenge. Using a combination of wit, deception, and teamwork, the unlikely duo outsmarts the Dukes by manipulating the commodities market in a thrilling and comedic finale. In the end, they come out on top, proving that wealth and privilege are not the only measures of success. The film's sharp humor and social commentary have made it a beloved classic. And now for my take. Let's focus on the final act, which takes place on a commodities trading floor, with some context in the law of supply and demand. Demand is a measure of how much a product is desired. The more people want something, the higher the price that can be charged. For example, the latest iPhone is the most expensive because more people want one. The 2-year-old model you can usually get for free with your cell phone plan. Supply, of course, is how much of a product is available to be sold. It is costly for a business to warehouse a product. If you charge too much for something, the product sits in a warehouse collecting dust. If you don't charge enough, you'll run out. Where supply and demand meet is the best price to charge for your product. It is where you maximize profit. You are not overpaying for storage and the other hidden costs of not selling. Your customers are happy and will likely buy from you again. Your employees are happy because they're getting paid. It's a sweet spot of business. The commodity traded in the final act is frozen concentrated orange juice. This may have sounded made up when the film Trading Places premiered in 1983, but it is a real commodity that you can buy and sell today. In December 2024, it is selling for around $500 a share, which translates to about 90 cents per pound. How do we get FCOJ? Obviously, you pick oranges, juice them, evaporate some of the water out, and freeze it. In theory, when the juice is frozen, it will keep forever. It is sold, warehoused, and transported frozen. It greatly reduces the chance it will spoil. That bottle of OJ you buy from the store usually comes from concentrate. Water is added back in with sugar and other additives. FCOJ is used as flavoring in a lot of other food products. Even though FCOJ will not spoil if kept frozen, it takes a lot of money to warehouse it and keep it frozen. Orange producing states are hot. It takes a lot of energy to keep it frozen. If that is your business, it's in your best interest that the product is priced to move. When you purchase shares of commodities, you are purchasing futures. To simplify the process, you agree to buy it at that price at that future day. On that day, if the product sells for a higher price than you agreed to pay for it, you make a profit. If it sells for less, you lose money. Commodity prices partially dictate how much we pay at the store for groceries. If you want to see prices at the grocery store go down, it starts with having a bountiful harvest. Having sound regulation to prevent speculation on commodities will help. So will lower energy costs. These all go into the price you pay to eat. Soft commodities are agriculturally grown products. They are generally considered safe investments. The crop is usually consistent from year to year. The demand is also predictable. Usually something like this is not something that you can make a huge profit by purchasing and selling futures. That is, unless there's a black swan or something unexpected. Crops have to be planted in the right place for them to grow and produce a bountiful harvest. If I were to plant an orange tree in my backyard outside of Salt Lake City, I would never harvest any oranges nor expect the tree to survive. The growing season in northern Utah isn't long enough. Citrus fruits, like oranges, need almost an entire year to go from blossom to harvestable fruit. Florida, California, Texas, and Arizona produce the most oranges in the United States, with some grown in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Here in the fall of 2024, the orange crop has been challenged. We've had Hurricane Milton, and we've also had disease as a result. The harvest in Florida will not be as good as it usually is. It also can't be too dry. California and Arizona need extensive irrigation in order to grow oranges. It can't be too wet either. Louisiana's oranges aren't grown in the bayou, they are grown a little bit inland. It also can't be too hot, which is why you don't see oranges grown in the Mexican desert or around Las Vegas. I said the crop is usually consistent, and I emphasize the word usually. In the fictional year that this movie takes place, it was an unusually cold winter. The question everyone had was whether or not the cold weather was going to have an impact on the harvest. The Dukes had an ace up their sleeve. The person delivering the crop report from the Department of Agriculture to the Commodities Exchange, Clarence Beeks, was secretly on their payroll. Valentine and Winthrop know this because they signed checks made out to Beeks. In a hilarious sequence on New Year's Eve involving a gorilla, the protagonists plant a fake report in the Duke's hands. Stealing the real report, Beeks ends up going to Africa with the real gorilla while he's dressed in a gorilla suit. The next part of the plan is to get onto the trading floor. Winthrop doesn't have any money because his accounts have been frozen due to the actions of the Duke brothers. Valentine just started his job, so he doesn't have a lot of cash himself. Winthrop borrows money from a prostitute named Ophelia, portrayed by Jamie Lee Curtis. Valentine borrows money from the butler Coleman, played by Denholm Elliott. With the money, Winthrop and Valentine can buy shares and get seats on the exchange. The fake crop report states that the weather will significantly reduce the crop. The real crop report says that the weather will have no impact on the harvest. If the crop is going to be compromised by a poor harvest, the price will go up. The Dukes believe this and inform their on-the-floor trader to just buy and buy and buy. Their trader is played by Richard Hunt, who is in a lot of movies but looked like this. Oh, and by the way, Frank Oz was in the movie too. He played a cop. The Duke brothers are influencers. Their confident buying causes other people to buy too, and the price goes up much higher than it should. As you remember, if the price is too high, the product won't sell. When the price hits the right point, Winthrop and Valentine short sell their shares, causing the price to stabilize. It's at this point the Dukes realize that they've been had because they see Valentine and Winthrop on the trading floor. But it's too late. They have way too many overpriced shares, while Winthrop and Valentine now have cash. The Duke brothers were experienced traders. They knew the risk of pushing the price too high, but they thought, due to the crop report they had, that the price would go even higher. The crop report is read by the Secretary of Agriculture. This causes the price to plummet. When the price drops to a certain point, Winthrop and Valentine buy. At the end of the trading session, the Duke brothers had lost $394 million. Likely some of the investors who were influenced by the Dukes lost a large sum as well. I don't know how much Winthrop and Valentine made off with, but it was probably much more than $394 million. I will mention that most crops in the United States are subsidized. What this means is that if the price of a crop falls to a certain point, the United States government will begin to buy. This ensures that the farmers don't lose a farm on a large harvest. Winthrop and Valentine probably bought their shares at just above that price. Winthrop and Valentine revealed that they made a similar bet to that of the Duke brothers. But don't worry, folks. Ralph Bellamy and Don Amici reprised their roles in Coming to America. They probably had much more than 394 million, just not in cash. This would require them to sell some assets to cover their loss and call in a few favors. They'll be okay. I said at the start of this video that I wasn't going to give financial advice, and I still won't. If you want details, again, talk to a professional. If you want to make a lot of money in the commodities market, you'll have to get lucky. But it seems like a good, safe investment most of the time, and may stay ahead of inflation. Was what happened in trading places legal? I'm not a lawyer either. In 1983, this kind of insider trading wasn't illegal, as the information was from the government and not from another business. In 2010, the laws on insider trading were reevaluated and rewritten, and today, you could go to jail for trying what Winthrop and Valentine did, even if a government employee tipped you off. What the Duke brothers did to Winthrop was highly unethical and probably illegal. They could have lost more than $389 million in a lawsuit. But Winthrop doesn't get mad, he gets ahead. What they did to Valentine would have been noble if they had kept Winthrop on board. Also, what happened to Beeks was probably illegal, but it happened while Beeks was in the process of committing a crime himself. Falsifying federal documents is a crime. I wonder what could have happened if Beeks and the Duke brothers went after Winthrop and Valentine. Could have made for an interesting sequel. In the end, Winthrop, Valentine, Ophelia, and Coleman retire to a tropical island. I like this movie, but I have a warning. This is not a family-friendly film. There is a considerable amount of gratuitous nudity and coarse language, which includes the F-bomb and the N-word. If this bothers you, consider catching an edited version, which sometimes is shown on TNT or another cable channel. The edited version is still enjoyable. That's all I have to say about trading places. My next episode will focus on the movie Airplane. I'll discuss how I lost more than 40 pounds in 2024 and provide some advice based upon what I learned in the process. I have plans for other films. I'm interested in what you'd like to see. Is there a film that needs some context? Please comment below. Also remember to share, like, and subscribe. Until next time, stay safe.